Hello, Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to explain Sudanese war as clearly as possible. It's one of the largest countries in Africa, home to around 50 million people, and today it's facing the worst humanitarian crisis on earth. At its core, Sudanese war is a struggle between two armed forces that now control different parts of the country. On one side is the Sudanese Armed Forces, known as SAF. They control the north, east, central Sudan, include much of the capital, Khartoum. They are led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. On the other side is the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF. They control most of western Sudan, especially Darfur. They are led by Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, better known as Hemeti. As the fighting continues, many analysts fear this split could become permanent. And Sudan has already been divided once before when South Sudan became independent in 2011. To understand why this war looks like the way it does, we need to go back. Sudan is one of the most diverse countries in Africa with hundreds of ethnic groups. But decades of colonial rule and post-independence politics hardened division between communities often labeled as Arab and African. Those divisions were deepened under Omar al-Bashir, Sudan's longtime dictator, who ruled for 3 decades. His government favored elites close to Khartoum and marginalized communities in regions like Darfur. In 2003, rebel groups in Darfur rose up against Bashir's rule. Bashir responded by arming Arab militias known as Janjaweed. Those militias carried out mass killings, burned villages, and committed genocide against non-Arab communities. Years later, the Janjaweed were rebranded. They became the Rapid Support Forces with Hemeti at the top. For a time, the RSF and the army worked together. That changed in 2019 when mass protests forced Bashir out of power. Sudan briefly at the edge of democracy, but in 2021, the military seized control again, crushing civilian hopes. Behind the scenes, tension grew between Burhan and Hemeti, especially over plans to absorb the RSF into the army. By April 2023, both men decided the only way forward was war. The fighting began in Khartoum and spread rapidly. Tens of thousands were killed. More than 12 million people were displaced. Civilians become the primary target. Sexual violence, starvation, and the collapse of healthcare followed. Nowhere has suffered more than Darfur. The RSF has tightened its grip there, cutting off food, water to the entire cities. In places like El Geneina and al-Bashir, witnesses describe massacres, ethnic targeting, and bodies left in the streets. Satellite images show mass graves. The United States has declared the RSF's actions in Darfur as genocide. And this war isn't happening in isolation. Regional and global powers are deeply involved. Egypt backed the army. Turkey and Iran supplies weapons to the SAF. The UAE is widely documented as the RSF's main external supporter, despite official denials. Investigations show weapons flowing into Sudan from multiple countries, even though a UN arms embargo has been in place for Darfur since 2004. Gold is another fuel. Sudanese gold trade is worth billions of dollars, and both sides use it to buy weapons and sustain the war. Smuggling routes run across borders, trying to conflict all regional networks far beyond Sudan. What began as a power struggle between two generals has become something much bigger. A war economy, a proxy battlefield, and a direct assault on civilians. Both sides are now trying to entrench control, even forming rival territorial governments. Neither has real legitimacy. This isn't just a civil war, it's a counter-revolution, a war punishing Sudanese civilians for daring to demand democracy. Diplomatic efforts have failed so far, and as territory hardens into zones of control, the incentives for peace grow weaker. Sudanese war is no longer just about war. It's about the land, the resources, regional influence, and whether the world allows a genocide to unfold in plain sight. This was your host, Mohammed Morsi from Asyut, Egypt. Thank you for watching Hood Republic.